Outer Orange.
As you guys may know, Divine Z is dropping on May 3rd. The official new set of Overdress, or for as people may know, the FATED Clash is coming out. Today, I'm going to go over with you guys what to buy and what not to buy, and basically just kind of do a little rundown. So previous here, welcome back. I'm going to basically break down to you guys what you should be getting, what you should avoid. But to be honest, this is a really good set. If you're really interested in a nation, I would probably just pick up every card within that nation, because most of the cards are relatively good, but most of them are generic, or some of them are exclusive to the deck you might be building. Especially if you've been building the trial decks, there's trial deck cards for you as well, and upgraded trial deck cards along with extra little support for you to work with. So that's that. But we're going to go through nation to nation. We're just kind of running through. Also, don't forget, this is also the Bang Dream set, which means the Mygo Morphonica, and I think Celtic or something like that is also in this set, so we'll be breaking that down as well. I'm going to start off with the general generics. There is a generic nation card in every single nation that you should definitely be grabbing, and it is these. The first effect is the same for all of them. The second effect changes depending on the nation that you're playing. Just something to keep in mind. We've had a bunch of these, and every single time they've always skyrocketed in price. They usually start out pretty decent, and then they just keep going up. So if you're someone that's picking up something for a nation staples, you should definitely be grabbing these for your nation. These are very important. They're going to be in the sets for a while. There might be a couple decks here and there that might use less, or maybe not 4 copies, but most decks will be utilizing these, so you should definitely pick these up, as long as they're not this crazy price though. Don't recommend them. And someone for some reason bought them, by the way. There was like a whole conversation about why someone spent $100 and something on these, but anyway, they should not be this price. These are pre-sale prices. I forgot to mention it earlier. These are pre-sale prices. They are not official prices, so don't get scammed. Long story short, first effect, when this card is put into the guard circle from hand or discarded from hand while writing to the ride deck, you can counterblast 1 or energy charge 3 and draw a card. Very, very good, because you can use the energy charge cards, which is the energy counter stuff that we got in the trial decks, and now they're going to be coming into this. So if you're going second especially, you can kind of utilize on this more, since you have a little extra energy to work with. And then when placed on your guard circle, for this one particularly, if your persona roll this turn, you can counterblast 1 or energy blast 3. Look at top 3 cards, just draw 1 card from among them, put it on top of your deck, and put the rest at the bottom in any order. And if this is not during battle phase, you may call it to the rigor circle instead. So just a little more digging. Keter has a lot of this like weird like stacking and digging cards, and they're really showing results as cards themselves. A lot of generic cards do stuff like this. It's just really good. Like I said, every single nation has one exclusive to what their nation wants to do, so we'll be seeing a lot of those. That is the first thing I want to mention. The second thing, the blue and red Oversugar did get reprinted, so if you need to pick those up and you haven't picked them up, now is a good time to start looking into them. The red one is a little bit cheaper down here, and like I said, these are pre-sale prices, but I expect both to be around this price, especially since it's the second printing, so it should go down a little bit in price. But aside from that, let's go ahead and kind of go over each nation and just kind of go from there. We're going to start with Brandt Gate, and then just kind of go from there. So first off, of course, there's the generic nation. There is one. The first effect's the same. The second effect, also for the Counter Blast and Energy Blast on Rigor Circle, switch your deck for 1 grade 3 or greater unit with a different card name from your Vanguard, or up to 1 set or reveal it. Put your hand, shuffle your deck. If you reveal a card, you discard a card. So this one, I think this one's good. It's not my favorite one out of the group, but this one's pretty good too. It's played in Orphis, so if you're interested in Orphis, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but Velstra might be playing this. I think Ava might be playing this as well, so definitely a good, if you're, like I said, if you're playing Brandt Gate, you're probably picking this up. I think the only deck this card might not be used as often is probably something like Prison. Prison just doesn't have space for cards like this, so if you're playing Prison, I think that's a very skippable card for you. But if you're playing any other set order card based deck, you definitely want to be playing that card, as it's very useful. And again, the ride phase effect is really good. So there's that. There's also a bunch of Velstra supports. So if you're big into Velstra, anything that's Velstra related, you're probably gonna be picking up. I am not a Velstra concierge. I'm not a Velstra like maniac. Actually, Velstra is the only deck that I don't really touch in Brandt Gate. So I'm just gonna give you guys some lists here, so you guys have something to look at, so you guys can compare and put stuff into your cart that you may think, because there's a lot of lists. This is deck standard, by the way. There's a lot of lists in here to look at. So if you guys need some stuff, a lot of Velstra love here, so you can look through here, kind of see what might be more fitting for you. As far as I can tell, you only really need the new girl, it seems, but the new order, which that should be pretty cheap. And then if you already have the old stuff, you're actually not doing too much to upgrade this deck from what I'm seeing. Let's go ahead and see some more decks here. So again, a lot of Boba Mine. There's like this one new card here, well, not new, but a little bit on the newer side. I haven't seen this card yet, but yeah. So long story short, you know Velstra better than I do. You can look through these lists and kind of find something that hits your happy place. We do have some other cards that are kind of supporting Velstra cards, so if there's something else that might be of your interest, they're probably poking around in here. There's also this is part of the trial deck cards. This is the Astrum card. I'm not too familiar with this card, this deck as well. I haven't tried it yet, but basically there's Ashram support in here as well, which is for the trial deck. So if you're interested in that, you know, you can kind of keep your eyes on there. Also, perfect guards are also gonna be printed, so if you need some perfect guards. Here's another generic card that got printed in all nations. We'll be seeing this again. Basically, when it's this card from hand during your ride phase, you can call this card as rest. So every single nation got one of these as well. So it's another card to kind of look out for if you're looking for some generic cards. Now, something interesting that also came out in this set is Gravidia support, and interestingly enough, this card actually isn't terrible. It says when, actually I think it's the other one, I think it's the grade 1 that's more interesting, this one, but this one, they're both not bad. I don't know if the deck's good, but just something to keep in mind if you've been playing Gravidia, if you're interested in upgrading Gravidia, these cards are actually not bad. This one says when your meter card is put put into drop into the order zone, you can soul blast 1, look at the top card, put the top or bottom, give her 5k. Really not that terrible. It's actually really good. You get to see more of your deck, but the grade 1 is a little bit more interesting to me. This one I think is even better. It says on rearguard guard circle, if your order zone has a total if your order zone or drop has a total of 3 meters, it's 2k power, 5k shield, plus a 10k shield. But the second effect says energy blast 3, choose up to 3 meteors with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from your hand and put them into the order zone. If you put 2 or more cards, you may draw a card. It's a May, by the way, which is really big. The one thing I really like about this card is that's a 10k booster, but putting 3 meteors from your hand into the order zone is actually insane, especially if you're trying to counteract what Gravidia is trying to do. Basically, Gravidia Mask can get you in the hand, and then this card can place them a little bit easier than I think the other card. There's another card that kind of does something similar, but I think it's worse. This is an Energy Blast 3, which is super important. The reason why this is important is because Gravidia really counterblasts a lot and does not want to soul charge too much. So this card being able to use Energy Blast instead is so much better, because then you don't have to worry about the counterblast or the soul blast, and you can just use this as a third resource. And I think this is better in a long shot. I have to test it myself to be sure, but I actually think that if you're interested in Gravidia, this is definitely a staple to pick up for Gravidia. Nice. Probably one of the better cards that we've had in the last couple sets. They've been so many Gravidia cards, but I'm not gonna lie, most of them are kind of bad. But this one I like. I actually think this card is really good. So if you're interested in Gravidia, it's gonna be really cheap to upgrade Gravidia if you've already had Gravidia. FYI, one of the cheapest decks by far to build right now, so have at it. I think we have a couple more Velstra support cards here. Actually, there's another one of these. This one, there's a couple of these too. It says when you boost if you have third battle this turn or more, counterblast energy blast 2. Draw cards gets plus 5k power. I mean, there's a couple of these similar kind of cards as well in the other nations as well if you're interested in those. Definitely, like I said, there's a lot of good stuff to pick up in this set. There, like, a lot of these are just random. This one's a counter charger, not probably one of the weaker ends of cards to pick up. And then we got this dude right here. This is more of that Velstra support if you're interested in that. From the looks of it, looks like you don't need too much from Velstra anyway. There's also these. Every nation got one of these too. It says when it's discarded from hand during your ride phase, you can soul blast 2 and draw. There may be a deck out there that might be using these. There's also a bunch of these random order cards too. Again, another thing that every nation got. So again, it's up to your deck. This one says look at top 2 cards, choose a card from among the points of your hand, put the rest in the soul. So another just random soul generator card might be also useful. Who knows? Again, you might as well just use your energy aside from, you know, energy 7 draw card, you know. So there might be some purpose for them. Other than that, I think that's really it. I think there's another one right here. Another this is a defensive card. It says Energy Blast 2, choose a unit being attacked and stay in the battle. It gets plus 10k power. Discard any number of set orders from hand up to 2. For each discarded, you get to draw a card and it gets 5k power. Keter Sanctuary. Now, Keter Sanctuary is definitely one a nation that I'm probably going to be least interested in for the next couple sets, because I'm not as interested in Raziel as other people are. I'm not saying it's a bad card or anything like that. I just can't invest into another nation, so I'm just choosing to skip over this nation. So there's Raziel support. There's obviously the generic nation card. We talked about it earlier in the video. I'm not going to go over it again. There's obviously Raziel support. You can basically, and then there's this persona. This is a persona card as well. If you persona road this turn, you can grab us one of the top 3 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 3 or less unit from among them called a rigor circle. Put the rest of the bottom in any order. This actually looks really good for the Zuhan deck. I can't remember the exact name, but this actually isn't too terrible in there. It's counterbust. I guess it might be an issue. That deck has counterbust issues. But anyway, long story short, just more of those random generics. We got a bunch of these, like got a bunch of these Raziel support cards, so you can, you know, mess around with those. There's so many lists on Deck Sander of these, so you can check out plenty. There's a lot to look in there. The deck has been topping pretty well. This is the trial deck support card, so here's more of that trial deck stuff. So if you're interested in upgrading specifically trial deck cards, keep in mind they're all in here as well. You just kind of have to, you know, look for them, but they're in here. There's a bunch. Another Raziel support card. I think this is no trial deck support card, if remember correctly. Oh no, this is Alden. Oh, this is interesting. So it says back row center circle at the end of the battle that this unit boosted if your opponent's Vanguard is greater campus won't put this unit into soul. Choose the same number of your rested rear guard as the number of rear guards placed during the battle phase this turn by the ability of Vanguard with Alden's card name. Stand them. If you stand 2 units, you may draw a card. That's actually pretty interesting. So this is kind of similar to how some of the other kind of like the MOB deck was working. It's kind of like a similar effect. That's actually really cool. So you basically draw cards, call cards, swing with them, and then restand them. So that's an interesting card. You just have to find it. But that might be, if you're interested in Alden, if you've been cooking Alden, that's definitely a good card. That definitely helps the card. That definitely helps the deck. So definitely another card to look into there. And then what else we got? Also, it's probably gonna be really cheap because it's Alden. Nobody really cares about Alden because there's a ton, and I mean a ton of Keter decks to play instead. So there's just so many decks to play in Keter. I feel like Alden is definitely on the lower end of a priority. Again, like I mentioned, all those during ride phase the discard to do stuff cards are also in this as well, so nothing to look for. And then oh no, this is a ride deck card. This is one of the Raziel ride deck cards, I assume. And then I'm trying to see if there's anything else that might be of interest to y'all. This is a Raziel card. There's so many Raziel cards. Oh my goodness. I think that's mainly it, to be honest, with Keter. Like I said, just keep in mind those same cards. There's also, again, like more of these type of cards. Energy Blast 2, like a top card of your deck, call it to guard circle, or put it at the top of the deck if you called the card. Gets plus 10k shield. Another really, really good order. I'm not gonna lie, some of these blitz orders have been really, really, really good, actually. A lot of them I'm reading, I'm like, wow, this is like a really good card. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but it's cool. And this is when it's attacked if you have 4 menus. Energy Blast 4 and draw cards. So just more Energy Blast little mechanics that you can use. But yeah, long story short, there's a bunch to work with here, and you can my personal what to buy options is definitely, I would pick up the orders just because you can keep them for later, and they're going to be really, really cheap. So definitely, so the orders, the generic staples, obviously whatever you need for your deck. If you're interested in Alden, here's a really good Alden card. I think there's also there's so many Raziel cards in here. Holy crap, I'm trying to find the generics. I think this is one of them. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's another one of those generic cards that Brandt Gate also had. Like when it boosts, if you have 4 more units, you can Cannon Blast, Energy Blast 2, draw a card, gets 5k power. So another Energy Blast card that you might be interested in looking into. Dragon Empire, again, Varga support. If you're playing Varga, you should be picking up those. There's obviously the generic staple that you can be picking up as well. This one's a little different. The second effect's different. You can Cannon Blast, Energy Blast 3, choose a grade 1 with a card without Sentinel from your drop and call to the back row. I think this one might be a little weaker. I don't know how convenient this is. Like if there's like insane grade 1s that like Dragon Empire might be getting access to, if Varga cares about it, I don't know. Maybe this one might be not as mandatory to buy into as some of the other ones have been so far. I don't know. It's up to you. You can decide for yourself. Well, yeah, there's Varga support, then there's support for the trial deck dude. Again, I'm not going to keep repeating myself over and over again, but just yeah. And then we have this is oh, that's right, there's a Eugene card in here. So this one has the Eugene cards. This is when your opponent's rear guard is retired during your main phase. If you have a breakthrough or greater Eugene as card name, you can stand this unit and it gets plus 5k power. And then guard circle, if you have a great 3 greater Eugene as card name, this also gets 5k shield. So if you've been coping on Eugene for whatever reason, there's a card for you. I will say that one's not insane, but it is fun to see Eugene support. I'm gonna get you guys some Varga decks. I did do a video on some of these Divine Z decks. So FYI, I do have a video on all the decks. We actually went over a lot of these decks together. So a lot of these decks I'm talking about now, they're in that video as well. But here's like a sample list, and then running the Mousy Mouse, or the cards that are not mouse, they're cats, but the lyrical ones are mouse. So yeah, there's plenty there to kind of look through. Where of these weird Energy Blast 4 do something. This one retires and binds. This is a bind card actually. So this might be something Lillian might be using it in as well. So like I said, there's a bunch of little things you can do. Here's another one of those grade 1s. This one's also, I think they're all the same. Cannon Blast, Energy Blast 4, draw a card, get 5k power. But this one says if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, this one's restricted to the retire mechanic basically. But yeah, plenty to look through here. I'm not gonna go super deep on this one because I'm not a big Varga player or any of that. But again, these orders, they're all really good. Definitely recommend looking into some of these. Like there's Lyrical Monasterio. There's a bunch in here. There's obviously the Christian cards. The Christian cards are all just really good cards. Just pick them up, put them in your deck. You know, there's a lot of Highlander kind of S stuff. Now I will say the Kyrie card in here is actually insane. Very, very, very good card. So if you're playing Kyrie, I highly recommend picking this card up ASAP. This card's probably going to go up over time, maybe. I don't know. I don't think people care about Kyrie as much as they care about Christine, but I will say I think Kyrie is the better deck right now of the two. There's also the Marlene support, so Marlene also is actually a pretty good deck, so you can also invest into Marlene, and I highly recommend investing into Marlene and Kyrie at the moment. Maybe getting Christine stuff and kind of putting it on a hold for a little bit until there's better cards, though the Christine stuff is good, and I don't think it's going to be too crazy on price either, so if you want to build a deck have at it. Just keep in mind you kind of have to keep it a little bit more Highlander, but just the deck's there. It's just I don't think it's there if that makes sense. But also do not forget the orders are also in this deck and in this set as well. So if you have the rear guards that were put if your rear guards were put other than on rear guard circle by your opponent's card effects, you can choose one of your units being attacked, get plus 25k power. I will say this card's a little bit on the weaker side in terms of orders. I think the other one might be a little better. This one says Entry Blast 2, choose 3 of your rear guards with different card names to get plus 5k power until end of turn. So this one says end of turn. So another one, you can basically stack your rear guards, make them higher, make them harder to hit. If you care about that, it's one of those things that if the meta is not too retire heavy, you can get away with stuff like that. If it is retire heavy, don't play that card, obviously. So Marley on support. This card's also really good. Because when this unit attacks a Vanguard, you can energy charge 4, choose one of your other front rear guards and return it to hand. This gets plus 5k power. That's insane because it's generic. It's an energy 4, but to be honest, if you're playing a different deck, like if you're playing like Kyrie or something, you don't really care about the energy cards as much, and you can get away with a card like this. So just something to think about. Or other decks that aren't directly running like some cards, you can use the energy blast 4 to return cards back to hand. I think that's a pretty good card, to be honest with you. Definitely one of the better ones of the Energy Blast 4 looking cards, so just something else to look forward to. I wanted to go over this card. This card's really, really good in this nation as well. This card is really good. The only issue with this card is that she's probably gonna be expensive, because this one is also really good. If you persona, you can Energy Blast 3, choose one unit to trigger against power, and choose a rear guard, return that unit to hand from rear guard circle at the end of turn. So basically, she bounces something at the end of turn while also giving something else power. Really, really good card. Definitely a good Kyrie staple, a good Christine space staple. Basically a really good card in any deck. Again, this is like the one generic one. It's definitely a card to look into. Highly recommend it. Otherwise, I think that's really it for Lyrical. Like I said, most of these cards we're seeing are repeat cards. The effects are just slightly different. It kind of just comes down to player preference and what you want to play in your deck. There's also this card. I forgot to talk about this card. This card says, once you boost a rear guard, if you persona roll this turn, you can have so blast, choose one of your rear guards. It gets plus 5k. It gets all your rear guards get plus 5k power to the turn. At the end of the turn, at the end of the battle, bomb deck this. It is a Carablast Soul Blast, but the fact that all your rear guards has plus 5k power is pretty nuts. She does bomb deck herself, so you lose her, but I don't know. And it is at the end of the battle, so you can't, put the effect on her to bounce it back. It doesn't really work like that. But this card's really, really, really good. Also another card to kind of keep in the back of your mind somewhere. She is playable in most decks. Now I'm not gonna lie, for Stoicheia, I haven't really found anything that's really calling to me to play. It's been really tough, but I do think this card's really good. This card says, if you persona roll this turn, you can Caraboss one like a top of the cards of your deck, choose up to one great thief among them, called rear guard circle, discard the rest. This gets plus 10k power. So if you're looking for like a heavy mill deck, you can kind of apply this card that way. With the heavy mill, she also becomes really beefy. I'm not saying she's the best, but she is okay. She's another card to kind of look into. She's gonna be cheap. There's some Magnolia support in here. You can find Magnolia now. You can actually directly find Magnolia now with this card. You do have to find this card to find a Magnolia card. You also have to discard a card, which kind of can be a little rough, but you can get direct access to whatever Magnolia it is that you want to find, which should add a little consistency to the deck. I don't know. Magnolia really struggles with consistency. There's some of this Lascaria support, which is the Bug Girl. A lot of people really like the Bug Girl. I'm not going to be building her personally. I'm actually not going to be building much of Stoicheia this set, but I am going to still talk about it because I do know what the cards do. Also, obviously, they have the generic grade 2 as well in here. Also pretty good. You get to pick a card and put it in. You get to pick an order or a normal unit and basically add it to hand, and then you have to choose a card from hand and discard it. So basically just another searcher, just another way to kind of filter through your deck a little, or filter through your drops in a little bit, and you can also pick up orders of that card as well, but you have to discard something. So there's that, and then other than that, there's obviously the usual generics. And what in the world? Here's some Christina support, so if you're interested in the trial deck cards, obviously they're in here as well. And I believe there's like one more card somewhere in here that I'm overlooking, aside from like the usual ones where you have to discard it to cause rest, and then the other card. There's also the Magnolia Ride Line stuff, which is a little bit more different. So this is kind of like some size stuff that you can pick up as well. If you're playing Magnolia, you can also pick up the new Ride Line. There's also that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed in here that's like really up there in priority. Obviously, there's the Blitz orders. Yeah, I don't think I missed anything as far as I know. There's no flag break support or anything like that. So, this is also there's actually a direct Magnolia card. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle other than during battle phase, Grandpa still choose when Vanguards with the civil release for every 2 grades of that unit. Choose a grade hero S and call it from drop to the board, and then once you attack, choose one of your 2 grades against plus 5. Interesting. So it's just a beefer and a caller. Here is Dark States. Now this is actually the one I'm most interested in this set personally. I really like the direful deck. Like I really excited for it. But first off, let's go over, you want the Tisk card. So this card is again the generic card that every nation is getting. This one says you can slow charge, and until end of turn this gets boosted plus 5k. I think this one's like good. Obviously you want slow charge, but it's not like a staple. At least for direful doll it's not a staple. I'm sure other decks might be a little bit more staple, but it's not a guaranteed you have to put in every single deck type of card. The boost is really nice though. Slow charge is obviously really good. In Dark States they want a slow charge, but yeah, something you might want to consider. Obviously the first effect is so good you're probably going to run it anyway. But then we also got the new Android, which is the direful doll card. There's a bunch of direful dolls in here. You definitely want to be picking up all the direful dolls. All of them are played. You want to play all of them. And then we did get a little bit, so basically if you're interested which ones, it's the 3, the new 3, the new 2, and then there's a couple commons. There's this grade 2 common, and then these grade 1 commons they want to be picking up. And basically those are like probably going to be like a 4-ofs in your deck, unless you really want to like experiment. Then obviously the Tisk card will be in your deck as well. And then after that it's just like little cards from like older sets. Like there's Unica card, it's a grade 1, like it's called Sparta. Sparta is a really well played card, and also something to keep in mind, the heals and the crits are very important because they're direful cards in their card names. They're not in here, but there's a direful doll heal and a direful doll crit. One's in the trial, I believe they're both in the trial deck, so you definitely want to be grabbing those if you're interested in playing direful doll. You definitely need them, they're useful. You can also run the other heal, the one that says if your opponent's Vanguard's grade is higher than yours. That one is also a direful doll, so something else to keep in mind. There's also Greedon support in this deck, and in this set, and it's actually a good Greedon support. So if you're interested or want to continue playing Greedon, you can pick up the Greedon cards. I believe it's a grade 1, a 2, and a 3. So have at it. You have all access to all those cards. There's obviously the trial deck card supports in here as well. And then as we've been talking about, we have a lot of people have been talking about this. Like I believe it's this guy. I think it's another trial deck card. I've been seeing a lot of I've been seeing a lot of results or like kind of results about this card. So maybe there's something good in there. I don't know. Also Unica's been doing really well. So maybe picking up some of the Unica cards can also see some good stuff out of that. And then yeah, this is more of the trial deck guy stuff. And then I want to see if there's anything else I missed. Obviously the Soul Blast 2 draw cards right here. I don't even have to like open it. I can already like see it from here. There's also another little guy right here. Let's see what this one does. There's another one of those like order cards. When this unit attack, that's nice. Entry Blast 2 call card for souls. This is basically an on-hit card. Might be not too terrible on like cards like Lukir, I don't know, or decks like Lukir, I'm not too sure. And then what else we got here? We got another one of those Counter Blast Energy Blast 2 cards. If your soul has 5 more cards, you get to draw, get 5k. Again, drawing is good. So a lot of these cards just say draw cards. So also there's this card. This card's actually not bad. It's Rainbow Blower. It says if you persona roll this turn, you can Counter Blast, Soul Charge 1, choose up to 1 card for Soul Call to rearguard circle, so you get plus 10k power. That's really good. I just want to let that be known. I don't know how healthy the Counter Blast is, but I'll tell you right now, that's a good card. It can be run in so many decks. It's generic. Like Chaos can run this card. There's a lot of the fact that it's at 18k is like insane, and she's restricted to persona riding of course, but everything else about her is like pretty good. Just FYI, if you're playing a persona heavy deck or something like that, that's not a bad card to potentially pick up. Also there's the Sargon cards, the on hit dudes, so people running those in, like the doll decks, a couple other decks, something to keep in mind. I think that's basically it for Dark States. Like I said, green on support, doll support, generic support, you know, you name it, trial deck support. And then there's no divine whatever for this set. Like there's no divine dude, there's just this guy, so you can consider. I think the direful doll stuff is like really good, so I feel like this is a really good investment. They're not going to be super crazy expensive either. So if you're really interested in direful doll, I would recommend picking it up. I think it's going to get better as sets go on. It is restricted to direful dolls, so it is going to have to keep getting direful dolls to kind of stay in. It's not as generic as maybe some other decks are, kind of like Razazel and stuff like that, but still it's a pretty good card. Now Bane Dream, if you are just like, I don't care about any of the stuff in the set, I just want to play a cheap deck, well, do I have the nation for you? This is probably the easiest decks to build for. It is Morphonica, which is this deck right here. Just get all the Morphonica cards along with the songs and throw them into a deck. And then there is the Mygo stuff, which is this girl right here. Again, you get all the Mygo cards and throw them in the deck, and you have a deck basically. The ratios might change, and again, I would highly recommend looking at the deck standard. There's some Bane Dream decks here you can look into. But otherwise, like they're pretty cookie cutter because there is no other support, obviously. So all you really have is the cards you have to work with on these 3 pages, right? So, and most of them are just the PGs, the triggers, and the cards themselves. There is, I will mention, there is a tech that some people run. I haven't tested decks to know why people are running them, but people are running this grade 2, which is a Sark chick card. Not really too sure, but people are running her at 1. And some people are also running the grade 1 variant of it as well. Let me go find that for y'all. That's the only thing I can tell you. This one right here. So there's also this card. So this is another card that people are also running. Again, I guess it's just to keep drawing. I'm not really 100% sure what the actual purpose of these cards are. Like I said, I haven't tried my go yet. I think the only thing you have to worry about is making sure you have enough triggers. You have to pick up 8 of these type of thing. But overall, very, very easy set to build for. Very, very easy decks to build for. You don't have to think too hard. So if you're just, you know, if you're just not really that into Divine Z right now, like maybe the Divine skills are just not for you. Maybe you're waiting for set 2 stuff. Maybe you're a Zorga player and you're waiting for that, but you still want to play something. These are definitely really good side archetypes to kind of pick up and play and just have a little fun until you're waiting for your Zorga support or whatever else you're interested in. Or maybe you just aren't as interested in the bosses and you just want to play something else. These are very, very good cards, very good decks to play as well. And they're really cheap too. They're actually going to be one of the cheaper ones. You don't have to worry about all these crazy generic cards, all these crazy effect triggers, all this other stuff. You can just play these and not have to worry about any of that. If you need any decks, if you want to look into something, do not forget about Deck Standard. There's a bunch of the list to look into here. If not, you can also check out VGParadox.com to see what's going on in there. If you need some old cards to look at or some old decks or even new lists to look at, there's a bunch of stuff in there. But on that, guys, peace out. 50cards.shop, CodeOrange if you need goodies. If you need any of this stuff, you can use my code to save yourself some money as you're buying stuff, buying sets, whatever. Nice. You can use my code for that. Also, if you're into other card games like Shadowverse, which is another card game that I'm currently in, you can also use my code for that as well. Also, he's recently opened up Pokemon as well, so you can also use my code for that too. But yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to. Hope you guys enjoy that. Like I said, CodeOrange for your goodies. Other guys, hope this was informative for you. Peace out. Das vidania. See you guys in a future video. Bye.